Hey, Reliability Gang, I'm Jonathan Guiney.
And I'm Brendan Russ, and welcome to Reliability Radio, a JLL production, ReliabilityWeb.com media brand.
It's always nice when we get to see familiar faces, Brendan.
It's actually one of the reasons why I think we keep coming back to all these conferences to just meet up with the crew and see what else they got going on today.
And I think this might be the first returning guest.
So today we have Jennifer Gatza here with us from Maven. How we doing, Jennifer?
Doing great. Excited to be here.
What's been the best thing about the conference so far?
It's always about the networking and getting to hear how others are using Maximo, what they're doing. We learn so many innovative ideas every time.
So let's talk about those innovative ideas. So in context of Maven, right? So you go out and try to help your customers with new Maximo upgrades or possibilities or tool sets, right?
Right.
So I imagine you probably get a lot of different requests coming at you left, right, and center.
Oh, definitely, because our users are beginning to embrace the Maximo application suite, right? Some have completed their upgrade to the suite and they're saying, you told us be patient, focus on Manage, and then we can add these other applications in later. Well, we're here. Let's go, right?
Yeah, I already want Monitor. Why is Monitor not here?
Exactly. And it's been a bit of a journey as we work with our users because we want to go beyond just a software product roadmap for Maximo and look at all those shiny new objects out there, right? And take it to the basic principles of asset management and each organization's needs, right?
So your customer base is they're getting into Maximo. They're starting to drink that Kool-Aid. They're really getting to understand Maz 9 and the whole suite of offerings. Given what we just saw on the main stage yesterday about where we're going next year and all the wonderful integrations that comes with, your customers are coming to you cart before the horse. I want those tool sets. I want them now, not necessarily knowing what that is, right?
Exactly.
How are those conversations going for you?
They go well, right? It definitely requires conversation. Well, conversations plural, right? So yeah, these are they truly are some great capabilities, and I am personally really, really excited about where Maximo is going. Bringing real predictive maintenance in, it just has so much benefit for our users. Everybody's on the AI hype train, right? But there's so much. There are some really useful use cases to AI, but it's about finding the right ones for each organization. So ultimately what we do is we need to sit down and say, first, what are the real goals? And not just the one-offs, because everyone's going to have their own wish list, right? What is actually going to move the organization forward strategically? And then we look at, okay, what do we need to do to get from where we are now to where you want to be, and how long is that going to take?
That sounds like basic ISO 55000 asset management principles, right?
That's exactly what it is.
And how many of your clients are actually taking that in consideration when they're coming to you and asking for these bells and whistles?
Some definitely are, but very often I saw this in a presentation. I saw it on a YouTube video. I saw that
YouTube video? That's where they're getting their stuff from now?
That's where they're getting their hot Maximo news is from somebody.
I mean, that's how I fix my dishwasher, but I'm not sure if I'm taking asset management advice from
I don't know if I want to put my organizational's, information on the line with that.
Well, right. And when it comes to making organizational decisions, no, right? But when it comes to learning new features of an application, that is more like fixing your dishwasher, right? But how do we turn that into something that is truly useful, right? It's a lot more than what button do I click, right? And how do I enable a module in Maximo? It's what is this going to do for me? And how do I make it useful? Because it's one thing to set up a demo with 1,000 theoretical assets than to manage an organization's very unique assets.
So when you have some of these conversations, when you approach this, are you approaching it from the context of like, hey, let's talk more about asset management than the technology? Technology should take the back seat right now, right? Let's figure out where you're going, where you are today, what's going to get you to that place that you want to be. And you guys create a roadmap?
Yes, yeah. And don't get me wrong, we love technology, right? That's my background. I'm a computer engineering major. I started out in this field as a developer, go figure. But I have learned at times the hard way over the decades that when you put the technology first, the result's not great and people end up not liking the technology. You absolutely have to start with the process.
Shocking.
I just can't believe she said that.
So just to be clear, one of the solution providers says technology may not work so well if you don't have a plan.
You got to have a plan, right? You got to know where you're going and how you're going to get there, right? And if it's led by technology and you guys come in and help that's awesome.
That's good. That's where the value is, right?
Absolutely.
So when your clients are coming to you, are the questions in context of I want this now, or is it more of an informational session, or are they even considering the impacts of what they're asking for?
It's a little of everything. We definitely have some. So we do have a reputation in the industry for being measured and providing objective feedback. So we have a lot of our clients will come to us for, my leadership wants this, right? We have an AI mandate, but tell me what's the real scoop, right? We get a lot of that, right? And that's great, right? Because they know that there's value, but there's also a lot of risk. So they're coming to us to say, hey, help us make this plan. But we also get the ones that say, hey, I learned that we got predictive maintenance in Maximo and we need that now. And we say, wait a minute, you barely have asset data in the system. So how are you going to do any kind of predictive maintenance when you don't know what you have, let alone real time?
So you do some education. You act as a trusted advisor. I'm hoping that these guys have that plan in place, or that's what you start to develop. And it sounds like you got to bring them back to center very quickly on a lot of these conversations.
That is exactly what we do.
So you're the honest one in the whole industry. If you need an honest feedback, come to Jennifer.
Go find Jennifer at Maven. She'll
Tell
set
you
you
like
straight.
it is.
That's what we do, and we are an ISO 9001 certified organization, right? Quality management, and that quality management process includes the rigor that we take with our implementations, right? We have a methodology that we have found works for us that we have honed over the 16 years that we've been Maven, right? So that we can help find that optimal balance so that we're not just selling software, we're not selling implementations, but we're bringing value.
So does that include some measure of governance, right? Because it's a CMS, right? EAM system, or trying to do condition monitoring, a lot of data coming in. I'm assuming that governance comes into play about how do you keep that evergreen and refreshed and making sure that it's still adhering to the standards that will actually work in the system.
Absolutely. Governance is at the foundation, right? We establish goals and then we immediately move into not how do we build it, but how are we going to ensure that we are measuring against those goals and we're not drifting away from them. And then we develop process and we say, how do we ensure governance and adherence to this process? And then data, right? And we try to build that in every step along the way and then have periodic checkpoints even after deployment, typically quarterly, to check in and say, how are we doing? Are we drifting? Because drift occurs, right?
All
It's
the time.
inevitable.
As soon as you turn your back, like it's just like
Yeah.
any other 12-year-old, you turn
Well, there's a
around.
new shiny object over here. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we get
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
I think I got it. Oh, squirrel, right? And then you're spending the next 2 weeks trying to pull them back.
I think that's really important though, right? And I think that's where a lot of people struggle because they are focused on, that one action or activity or that shiny bullet or whatever it is that's coming at them. They don't think about how they're going to long-term tell their story through data, right? The metrics, the data points that they need to ingest, the things that they need in there just to base level foundational set up some of these activities is huge.
So what's next?
What's next? Well, let's take some shiny objects and turn them into something useful.
Wow.
How do you do that?
Well, we are definitely looking. So in the journey to predictive maintenance, we found many organizations such a need, but such a gap to get there. And we are still working with many of our clients. If you need to get upgraded to the application suite, get there first, right? Various levels along that journey, strongly encouraging our Maximo users to embrace the health module, right? It does not require any additional software installations. It's really an extension of what you already have in Manage, and there's so much you can do with that. And then from there, right, even in health, pick your most critical asset class, focus on that, really hone it in, and then expand from there. And then say, what sensors do you already have, or where can you add sensors to add the most value, right? Focus on those asset classes and build out there on your journey to predict.
So you're not telling anybody to do anything different or new, right? Base level foundational stuff.
It is.
Fundamental.
But it's so funny how it seems like people are hearing it for the first time.
I just want to hit my head against the wall sometimes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
All right. Well, Jennifer, do you have any last words for the audience?
Want to say thank you for being here and for having me here. As we go forward, can't believe Maximo is celebrating its 40th birthday. For a software platform that is pretty mature, right? But it's very, very exciting to see the timeless principles continue to move forward and get paired with new technology in a meaningful way. If you're at Maximo World, stop by and see us at booth 109 or reach out to us at mavenasset.com.
Really exciting stuff. Thank you very much for joining us today. And for everybody out there, for listening to Reliability Radio, we will catch you next time.